What was life like before your incarceration experience? Leading up to it, what was life like for you?
Yeah, I mean, life was as normal as life can be. I was a school teacher prior to my incarceration. So as I mentioned, I had a master's degree. I was working a full-time job, going to school to continue my education, having regular family life. And then a traumatic experience led me to prison. And
Joining us right now, special guest Gwen Richardson. She is the neighbor of the mom here, Lizette. Gwen, thank you for being with us. What did you observe about Lizette? Anything out of the ordinary?
To be perfectly honest, I didn't even know who lived in that apartment. I never saw her. I never saw her husband. I didn't know that there were children living there. We did know that there was a new family there, but I never saw them. I never saw them. But I did want to say that just
Gwen Richardson, what happened on the evening, the day that the police arrived at the home to
I
discover
didn't
the
realize
children dead?
that there was a gas leak until about 11 p.m. We smelled something earlier, but I live on the front of the building. She lives on the back, and she's one apartment away from me. I smelled something that I thought was people cooking on their grills, and that was maybe around 8 o'clock. And I kept smelling it, and then after a while, it didn't seem like it really was that. And then around 11 o'clock, the authorities started knocking on doors, and when we opened our door, the stench of the gas filled my apartment. It was burning my eyes. It was choking me. It was so strong. And I kept thinking, even when they knocked the door down to get in, these are metal doors. A spark could have been set off that killed all the authorities, that killed everybody on the ninth floor. I mean, she had the safety and lives of all of the families and authorities that were in the building that night. She really put us all in jeopardy.
A city school teacher killed both her kids, 4-year-old son and an infant daughter. Lizette Baminga forced him to swallow windshield wiper fluid mixed with grape juice. Then she drowned him in the bathtub. She sealed up the windows with plastic and tape and turned on the gas on the stove before drinking the spiked juice and slicing her wrist. When investigators and firefighters arrived in the kitchen, they found the ex-teacher conscious and the kids lifeless, and a pair of underpants belonging to her cop boyfriend that once read Mr. Right was found with the right word crossed out and wrong written with a black marker. Baminga's boyfriend, Trevor Knoll, had just finished his shift at Manhattan's 28th Precinct when he came home to the July 2012 horror and 2 suicide notes that read,
No left, no on the cross.
"Sorry, you got what you wanted. Me and the kids are in a better place now." And the phrase DNR, "do not resuscitate." Trevor cried uncontrollably as he and friends and relatives mourned his kids, Trevor Jr. and Violet Lilly. The Bronx woman admitted to detectives that she killed 4-year-old Trevor Jr. and 4-month-old Violet. "I poisoned them, and that didn't work, so I drowned them." Prosecutors say she carried out the grisly act as get back for Trevor having a child by a French woman and is charged with killing their children in the botched murder-suicide.
She's doing online searches for how to kill her kids, and she's going to Pep Boys, buying windshield wiper fluid, mixing it with grape juice, and leaving a note behind that says that she's doing this to get back at her husband who fathered a child with another woman. You're telling me that's not a calculated killing?
Baminga is represented by Michael Dowd and colleague Neil McJellowy, New York attorneys who have a successful record of defending battered women accused of murder, like Barbara Sheehan, accused of murdering her NYPD husband, winning her an acquittal just a year prior. They argued Baminga wasn't in her right mind when she killed her children, and that she suffered from a crippling, undiagnosed postpartum psychosis. Baminga's grandmother threw a baby against the wall and was sentenced to a mental hospital in French Guiana.
How many doctors do you have taking care of the patient?
We have nine. Normal capacity.
Although people will describe this country as the most civilized country in the world, when it comes to issues of postpartum depression, psychosis resulting in the death of a child, we're backward. We're not progressive. We're regressive.
The United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and 29 other European countries have infanticide laws. And these infanticide laws provide for the biological vulnerability of childbirth. If a woman kills her baby under 1 year of age and she is found to have a mental illness, she is charged with manslaughter instead of homicide, and she's sent to a psychiatric hospital.
Here in the United States, we think of these issues very, very differently. And the laws are in direct conflict with how we think about psychosis.
Parents of the children Lizette taught at PS 58 in Carroll Gardens, Brooklyn, raised $20,000 for her defense. Judge Martin Marcus resided over the non-jury trial and convicted Baminga of manslaughter and sentenced her to 8 years.
You know, 8 years is 8 years. Like, 8 years is not nothing. This is a woman who's a school teacher. I assume she did nothing wrong prior to this. She's never going to do this again. 8 years of her life is a long sentence for somebody.
You have an infant and a 4-year-old. Right?
Listen. It's a horrible crime. Nobody's going to ever look at those pictures and say, "Hey, you know, this is nothing." But it's a horrible situation. You have a mother who actually killed her children, who's never done anything wrong before. If that's not the clearest indication of severe mental illness at that point, I don't think there could be more of an indication. Rich, but nobody will ever say it's right.
I hear you.
It's just a tragedy.
Let's say she got treatment, and that the attending psychiatrist, the physicians say, you know what, with proper medication and everything else, this woman will not be a threat to society again. 2 years into treatment. Do we then say, okay, fine, now she's going to get a criminal sentence for what she did? Or, in effect, is that double jeopardy? That we're punishing somebody who's clinically ill versus somebody who's just a criminal?
No, you need a compromise. You have to have some punishment and treatment. 8 years in jail is not going to treat her mental problems, and vice versa. You know, just going into an institution isn't going to feel like justice when you have 2 dead kids. And it's heartbreaking, but this is the problem with our system when it comes to mental illness. It's all or nothing. If you're insane, you face no consequences. You go to an asylum and you get treatment. I mean, Hinckley.
In the chilling aftermath, we reflect on the tragic tale of a mother who shattered the bonds of maternal love. Her name, etched in infamy, will forever be associated with the unspeakable acts she committed. As the credits roll, we grapple with the haunting question: how could a parent turn against their own flesh and blood? The echoes of her deeds reverberate through time, a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk within the human heart.